Alright, you guys. So today's kind of a big deal. This setup is really wonky. My light and tripod thing, it just broke. I'm having a really great time during this Mercury retro today. But anyways, so I wanted to go ahead and do this really important update because something really significant just happened. And I wasn't necessarily going to talk about it today, but I was like, I think I should because it's that significant. And it really is significant across a couple different lines. So, as the title of the video says, I am now under 50% body fat. So I told you guys in my last update that I was getting there, that it was going to transition and that it was shifting, and I could feel the battle with my obesity changing over time, although it was very slow, and it was especially harsh in March and early April. But really throughout all of April, it was very tough. It's honestly why I couldn't post as much. And it's honestly something that's happened, in my life a lot of times. Like I've said, sometimes in this journey, health has had to take precedent, and I've had to really put that first. And sometimes you just don't have enough energy or effort for everything else. So as you guys know, I posted on a channel note. I have taken it down. But I did appreciate all of your guys' comments and stuff. But I went through a lot in April. And I haven't had a moment like that in my life where the way that my life is completely collapses really since 2020. And back then I was doing keto and everything, and I always talk about how you cannot handle stress as well when you're doing something like that, or when you're losing weight in an anti-thyroid state. And so I had something pretty calamitous, I was broken up with, and it was something that for so many years, I feared that happening. It was something where it was to such a fear that I would practically have gnashing of teeth at night sometimes, fearing this. And it happened. And then the very next day, or actually the day before, I got in a car accident. And so I lost my car, at least temporarily. And it might be hard for some people to understand, but really throughout this recovery process, I have really lived and died by my car. I've really depended on it. It's been my best friend. It's what I use to work. And I've had that freedom to work whenever I want and that kind of stuff. And it's just such a huge part of my daily routine. I get up, I have breakfast, I eat, and I go to my car. And so for these two huge disruptions to happen at the same time is definitely something where I could collapse. And where I would have. Had I been keto, had I been losing weight, had I been Nikocado avocadoing it. I'm very interested to see how he'll do, by the way. He's right at that 80-pound weight loss range. We'll see if he goes beyond that doing keto. Might need to make a video about that in general. But anyways, I would have snapped. Absolutely. But I didn't. When both these things happened, I was upset. of course, horribly upset even. Extremely disrupted, right? Very hopeless. I have a lot of hormonal things going on, or I did anyways, at the time too, that made me feel hopeless anyways. So sometimes when your hormones are messed up and then life events line up with it, it makes it extremely difficult to keep going. And I just want to say that this moment is very significant, not just because I'm under 50% body fat, which is huge, which we will get into that, but because I kept going. I didn't even miss a beat. It was just, everything went down last week and I just kept going. I kept going to the gym. I kept my deficit dead set on track. Didn't miss a beat, didn't miss a day, nothing. And that is like, just whoa for me. As somebody who struggled a lot with self-control in my life, even emotional self-control, as somebody who certainly struggled with maintaining health regimes and this kind of stuff, this is groundbreaking. This is like life-altering. This is a moment in time that I'll look back on and be like, that's when I realized this was going to go all the way. Because the thing is, I've done things before. I've had my Nikocado avocado moment where I've lost 80-something pounds or 80 pounds on keto. But I couldn't keep it off because bad things happen in life. And like I said, this breakup is definitely something that would have been enough. Absolutely. In previous years. So I talk a lot about resilience. I talk a lot about how your diet should feed into your stress system rather than take away. And that's why I advocate for this protocol so much. That's why I've really been talking about it, because this is something totally unprecedented for me. And I don't think I've talked enough about the benefits I've gotten. I get on here and I talk a lot about the negative sides just because I want to know what was happening at what point. But what is the point of all this, right? The point is, in doing this protocol, there are a lot of symptoms, detox issues, pains, especially coming from such a low point. But there's a lot of blessing underneath it all. And those blessings are something that you don't see right away. It's just like, oh my God, this breakup that I feared happening for the better part of 4 years just happened, and I'm still staying strong on my health regime. My life isn't over. I don't feel this way or that way. And I do think a lot of people, they try to dismiss it by saying it's because I'm older. I do think that there's an element of that, but I can assure you, I'm 30. If this would have happened when I was 29, it would have been no different. I don't think I could have handled it. And so it's definitely more than that. I've seen a lot of people are devastated by breakups well into their 40s, well into their 30s, right? Well into their 50s. It has nothing to do with age. It has to do with a resiliency that I've earned through extreme discipline and patience, through hormonal storms and hardship. Honestly, it's been very hard to heal. Healing has not been easy. But over the years, I've gotten healthier. Like, I've been able to work more. I've been smarter. I've been more ambitious. It makes me, I see things in more of it's more gray. Not everything is so black and white. And that's a transformation I've had really this year that I didn't ever expect, especially not at this time. Like, just the mental views of things. I was dumped and I don't hate him. I understand it. I'm not scorched earth. I don't hate his guts or anything. I'm not like that anymore. And it's like, I never was like that. My whole life, if something happened, I hated the person. And I don't feel that way anymore because I can see shades of gray and I can see things so much more objectively than I used to. It's similar to how I went to a wedding in late March, and I have some estranged family that was at that wedding. And I know that a year ago, I never could have went to that wedding. But this year I could. I could be around people that had hurt me so deeply, that I had been bitter about and just ruminated on for years. And I went, and it was just okay. It wasn't amazing and it wasn't terrible. And I think this serotonin and dopamine thing that is happening to me, it's something really incredibly deep that I didn't ever expect. And I didn't realize how sick I was most of my life. And so there is kind of a reckoning where I have to really look at how ill I've been pretty much my whole life. And it's definitely stepping into a new me. And it's very fascinating, but also kind of terrifying in a way, because I don't know how I'm going to be. My relationships, like my views of dating, my views of relationship, who my type is or isn't, and all this stuff is really shifting. I think sometimes I feel like if you have, this is a theory I have, but I have a theory that if you have very high serotonin, it's like it's almost like it's easier to take advantage of you, or it's easier, like you just don't see things as clearly, It's very hard to explain, but it's something I'm really thinking about. And of course, since these hormones are shifting, I don't think that clearly right now. I'm very uncoordinated, extremely uncoordinated. I mean, I just broke my light. I wonder, if the car accident had something to do with it, to be honest. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't, but luckily nobody was hurt or anything. But I don't know. Like, I still struggle sometimes because I'm adjusting so much. I dropped my phone like 4 times yesterday. Like literally, and then I broke my charger. I had to buy a new charger. It was really crazy, but I just broke the light too. But I think sometimes when your brain is really rewiring and just changing, it's like, I don't know where I'm going to be. And just thinking about things in terms of dating and stuff, it's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what I would do if he came back. I don't know what I will do when I meet someone, or if I meet somebody new. Like, I don't know what I'm looking for anymore. Like, everything I thought I wanted or knew, I don't anymore. And so I think I have to just definitely put that aspect of life on the back burner for now, because my sense of attraction, sense of what I want is unclear. Very unclear right now. But with that, I want to go ahead and just say, like, some of this stuff is miraculous. Being able to stick to this is huge. And I will always advocate for doing a diet or protocol, a regime that feeds into your stress system rather than takes away from it. So, with that said, let's talk about the 50%. So I told you guys in the last update that I could feel the demonic presence of Ring Girl, aka my obesity, waning. And really that has continued. So I started getting up early again. I've been getting up at 7 in the morning, so very early. That's a huge sign that my hormones are shifting. I've been a little bit less moony, not completely unmoony, but it's less like after the gym, I'm less depressed and less depressed and less depressed. And this last time that I went up in weight again and I wasn't nearly as depressed. I still was pretty gutted about the breakup, but I was still like okay, relatively speaking. Like I was able to talk on the phone with a friend. Like I couldn't have done that a month ago. Absolutely not. So, as I've predicted and hoped, getting under 50% body fat, which I'm barely there, I'm 49.9, but even approaching that 50% and getting under it, I felt a difference. And I think I'm finally reaching a point where my weight loss journey is gonna become more normal. And I think when I hit another stride, which is when my fat, my muscle outweighs my fat, that will shift the hormone profile even more. And I think certainly from that point, I will have a typical weight loss journey. And maybe these other aspects of my life, like what I'm looking for in a relationship and this other stuff, maybe it will start to clear up. As the muscle, it's definitely more, prothyroid hormonally than fat. So when that outweighs the other, I know it's going to shift things. And I'm really hopeful that I will be at peace, The whole time I've tried to lose weight, my whole life, really, I've struggled with this demon ring girl moment within weight loss. And when I was doing keto, it kept getting louder and louder and louder and harder and harder and harder. Just for that crisis to come, to fuck it up. And it happened twice in 1 year. And to go through a sort of crisis and not even miss a beat is just like, I'm gonna do this. I'm going all the way. So I'm hopeful that it won't affect my posting anymore going forward. I cannot guarantee that. I'm still struggling, but it is getting better, and I think it will just get better as time goes on. It's kind of like reaching the top of a hill, and now it's downhill from here, It's just very different. And I think it should continue to improve the lower it gets, and the mental effects and this other fluctuation, like we'll see with the serotonin and stuff. I don't know what will happen with that, but I think things should continue to shift as I get healthier. But this sort of crisis point I've talked a lot about this year, I'm really at the end. And I'm going to have to think about other stuff. I feel like I'm really accomplishing something here. And it's like, I never knew I could. I don't know. It's a very weird feeling, but it's so wonderful. Like, to just earn the possibility of a normal weight loss journey. And I do have to say too, my hunger has been great. I have not struggled with hunger. I've done very, very well. So it's definitely worked. But these other bigger transformations, I've had other changes on this scale throughout the journey. But this is something I never expected. I never realized that I was a serotonin person. You know, it makes you less creative, it makes you more rigid, more all these things. And I look at last year a little differently now. I see that last year, that grip of the serotonin on my brain was shifting, and I was able to be a bit more wild and explore things a bit more, even if now I'm embarrassed by it a little bit. I still see how the recovery was happening throughout last year, and this year it's continued, and I feel like I can have a little bit more structure to it, you know, have a bit more self-control. And I'm really hitting that balance. So I'm actually, probably for the first time in a long time, I'm actually excited about the future, because this really difficult phase, I really do think it's ending. I have a feeling. Because I'm getting strong enough where I can still have decent hormone profiles even within a deficit and going to the gym. So I'll see how I feel. The only other plan I have is pretty soon, I plan on going to the gym every 3 days rather than every 4, because that will bump me up to 2 days. I think that will be good. I can tell that I'm building muscle and continuing to lose weight. But I'm sorry that the content did falter a bit on here, but as you guys know, what matters is the result. What matters is the work. Doing the work is what matters more than anything. It's great to, you know, entertain and educate and do all this stuff that we do here, but at the end of the day, I have to show you guys the results and show you that it's happening when it's happening. So, because overall that will prove my case more than anything else, you know, and that's why I've documented this. Yeah, set point theory busted. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Yeah, April was definitely a calamitous month for me, but hopefully April showers bring May flowers this year. So far, so good. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.